Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the post-game beatdown represented by those Los Angeles Chargers on those Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sure I expected it to be this way. I'm your host, Booga Peters. If you have yet to do so, please hit that like and subscribe. It's been so long since I actually tried to do the YouTube thing. 80 Simons is here over across the pond. Appreciate you being here, sir. Can't wait to hear your insight regarding this game. And of course, our Tuesday co-host and now post-game for tonight, Taylor. Love the backdrop. Hope you're doing well. Let's start with you, 80. We talked about a lot of cool things during the pre-game show, if you will. The Chargers went in there and they whooped that ass. Your thoughts?
First couple of drives, I was expecting a shootout, but Dallas is going to be Dallas. They're going to F it up at some point, and we didn't. We didn't break. Pretty solid game. Couple of big splash plays on the ground and in the air, and that was the difference. Defensively, wasn't as stifling as was expecting, but we got it done. It was a win.
It definitely was a win. Taylor, you look at the game. We talked about the couple of things that we wanted to talk about. Somebody hit 300 yards passing, and I believe that Taylor called that exactly to the number. Go ahead. Show out, girl.
I said that, Herbert, if his offensive line could hold up, which they did, and we'll talk about that point here in a minute, it was going to torch that Dallas secondary, one of the worst secondaries in the league. And when it's this game, he was firing all cylinders, distributing the ball. Trey Harris had a couple big plays in the first half. QJ lit it up today, and he finished on the dot with 300 passing yards. And I called that on my pregame episode, which I think I released Thursday or Friday of last week. So I want to call myself like Electrodamus or something with those type of predictions, because I've been about 50% of my predictions this year, game to game. So
50% makes you about 49% better than everybody else.
There you go.
So we're glad to hear that you are part of the Electrodamus. Somebody hashtag that shit. We kind of love it. It wasn't just that though. It wasn't just the Herbert hitting 300, the Sawyer to Daculus thing, and you weren't too concerned about the offensive line. And by the way, for those who hadn't heard, and I wasn't one of those people, 0 sacks given up. How surprised were you?
Yeah, so, I think it was also dependent on who was going to be active for Dallas today. I know Quinnen Williams wasn't active. He was questionable coming into the game. He was inactive with a concussion. So I thought that was a good sign for the offensive line. But, still, it's an NFL defense, and we've seen how this Chargers offensive line has been week to week. And, they came to play today. 0 sacks taken by Herbert, which is great. He did take some hits, especially on that long run he had, but good to see that there were some adjustments made to keep him upright. And I think I did see a stat scrolling through X during the game that his time to release the ball was at 2.19 seconds today, which is, I don't know if it was the quickest this year, but he was getting the ball out quick, which I think also helped, this offensive line that continues to be banged up week to week.
Oh, Dave's gone. Yeah. Yeah, so I think now we are on something like the 27th different offensive line combination now. And keeping that pass rush at bay. Looking at some of the stats, Donovan Ezeraku, who was a first-round draft pick, he literally left this game with 2 assisted tackles. That's it. And Odezingua, 1 assisted tackle. Couple of the D tackles got a little bit of action, but there was nothing. It was just like there was absolutely nothing coming from that side of the ball at all. And as you say about their pass defense, depending on what metrics you want to use, if you use their entire back 7, they are the worst unit in the entire league. And then if you just go on the DBs, they're still like like bottom 3. So they were obviously going to be a pass happy game because if everybody knows that stat and why they're vulnerable, that's pretty much how they're going to be coming out. It just makes sense. Oh, and here he is.
Hi, I was here the whole time. I was listening to you guys. You guys were waxing poetic. I didn't need to interrupt for once. No, honestly, I'm going to start over and kind of do a little handing out of congratulations to some players we're not too nice to normally on this show. Bradley Bozeman played all right.
Yeah. He played okay.
I mean, he did. Are we fair in saying that?
Yeah. So something I said earlier this week, which kind of upset a few people, was
good job, 80.
Yeah, just like, do you really think we're actually going to get rid of Bradley Bozeman this offseason? So at the moment, my opinion is we're going to cut Becton, keep Bozeman, and overpay Zion, and then just draft another guard. And a few people were like, "What? No, we can't do that." It's like Bozeman gets a lot of slander that he doesn't deserve because of the optics of, say, the 4 sacks in the Eagles game, none of which were his fault. And I was pretty fast on saying wasn't his fault, and then Popper came out, then Herbert came out, then Harbour came out, and was like, "Oh no, this was on me." And Popper himself ran down all 4 of those sacks of the Eagles game. And then the week afterwards, the Chiefs did exactly the same again. It's like he gets a lot of slander. I mean, at one of the points, Bradley Bozeman's wife actually started liking some of my tweets. I literally
in your support of him not being the one who was at fault.
Yeah, who was responsible for a lot of these sacks. He does get a lot of unnecessary slander. I'll call balls and strikes with pretty much all of them because I am a line guy, and you can always tell by like the first step from the line of scrimmage what the play is, and it's just like, okay, that's Herbert's fault, But yeah, like the offensive line played, they did okay. They did good enough today to keep him upright. And
Taylor, back to you. 0 sacks given up. And by the way, a little bit of love to Bradley Bozeman. We really have to do that here because we've been trying to replace him for a very long time. That being said, there are some times, and we're a little more vocal about it privately in the group chat, but Herbert is struggling to be that guy who really exceeds at the line of scrimmage. That being said, he has so many games where he really shows out, but there are times where you really you understand that he needs to have done something different as much as it's on the center to change the protection and slide the protection or a half slide. And you know what I'm talking about, 80, one way or the other. 10 always has the last call, or at least what do you understand on that? And then Taylor will go to you.
Yeah. Sorry, Taylor.
Oh, no, you can finish up, 80.
So when it comes to the protections, since Corey Linsley left, 10 has all the responsibility now. So Bozeman's responsibility from talking to somebody who I won't name, he can call out the fronts and nothing more. And he'll call out the alerts, but all of that goes back to 10, who processes it and makes the adjustments accordingly. Again, it goes back to kind of, Dave, who I know, who I'm not allowed to name.
I know exactly who you're talking. You don't have to.
Yeah, but that's exactly, like, everything goes back to 10. He processes it. He makes the decisions that he sees fit. But the pure optics of the situation, Bozeman gets all the slander, but none of it goes to 10. Even though ultimately it's his responsibility to actually process that and call adjustingly. Now today,
and among the fan base, it will always say that way until they get him better help along the interior. But Taylor, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just pulling up some preliminary PFF grades. I know it's a touchy subject, but I do just want to call out. So Bozeman's ranked right in the middle of the pack today. They have him at a 74 graded on a run block. Our best offensive lineman, according to PFF today, is Zion. His run block grade was an 80. Overall, he's a 73. These grades right now, preliminary, I know these aren't finalized. I think these are in-game grades. Most of our offensive line is, right in the middle of the pack. So definitely a much better game for them. But, like I said, with the grain of salt, it is against Dallas's defense, but I'll take that type of performance any day of the week.
Yeah, so anything above a 60 is 60 in PFF language is an average. So anything above 60 is respectable.
Yeah, so
it's when you start getting to guys who are in the low 50s and the 40s where you have a concern. Anything above 60, a lot of people want to treat this like Madden, like a Madden game. And essentially that's all it is, because like whenever you go to a training camp, you see the Madden kind of adjudicator of who decides. PFF is I really just no different. It's just a nerd watching TV, and that's really. There'll be a game. There'll be somebody in the
football nerds. Don't you dare do that.
Don't you an analytics guy who probably has a background in baseball who doesn't actually fully understand a lot of stuff. Because that's where most of the football analytics guys came from. Believe it or not, when it comes to the analytics side of things, the first franchise to fully implement a analytics department, have a guess. Just
don't do this live on air. What are you
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah, the Browns. They were the first team to fully integrate an analytics department, and they actually brought in a general manager like 2 or 3 ago who was a full-blown baseball analytics guy.
Hold on a second. Yeah, didn't they end up with a guy named Deshaun Watson? What are we doing here?
Well, I'm sure the numbers and the analytics in that decision were really great, but back in football land, that doesn't work.
It doesn't. But listen, here's what I want to do. Chargers double up on the Cowboys. I feel like when I cut this player, speaking of Madden, Delshon Phillips in my Madden franchise back in, I don't know, whenever the game came out, I really made a huge mistake. I've never seen a player on special teams. The first 4 special teams plays where he had the opportunity to get a tackle, he literally made or was a part of all 4. Mm-hmm. Taylor, you see that type of effort, you see that type of thing, and it's like, this is a legit guy. I don't know his exact contract situation. 80 can probably find it for us, but you see that type of an output from a guy who missed so much of the season early on, and then it helps win games like this because it stymies the field forward progression of the Dallas offense in this case.
Yeah, I mean, and let's think back to like how inconsistent special teams was towards the beginning and middle of the season, and look at the level they're playing at right now. So guys like that who are special teams specialists stepping up and, stopping someone like Kevontae Turpin, who's been lighting it up on special teams this year, whether it's a kick return or punt return. They really limited Dallas's starting field position. I think I didn't see really anything past like the 40-yard line on kickoffs today. So, he was all over the place, and we're definitely going to need that in the last stretch of this regular season and into the playoffs. So I'm glad special teams is finally somewhat corrected course, and I don't think we're dead last anymore according to PFF and special teams. So it's going in the right direction.
80, you know what it's like to have a guy like that on special teams. When you have that special teams demon and you see the way that they can kind of affect the field position game, how intricate and important is that to you as an offense as you move forward, trying to move out of getting into those holes?
Well, it's field position. So you're having somebody who can get upfield and make that tackle, because pinning somebody inside their own 20 is a heck of a lot better for your defense than it is if that play goes to the 40 and 30. Like, especially with somebody like Kevontae Turpin. Now, he's a guy I'm very familiar with because before he ended up in the NFL, he actually played in Europe. It's somebody I'm quite familiar with. So having those special can do that. I mean, we like Dean Leonard. He's spending a lot more time on special teams. As we're talking about Delshon Phillips, he signed a 1-year contract, so he's going to be due for a re-up after this season. This season was $1.7 million. He's going to be a free agent again at the end of the season, so he's going to go to free agency.
Don't you expect the team to re-sign him?
Yeah, I think that they have enough cap. I mean, there's 23 players off the top of my head that are going to need to be re-upped and re-signed, and some tough decisions are going to be made because guys like Owe are going to need to get paid. I think there's talk about wanting to pay Thule, which I absolutely wouldn't at this stage. Then Khalil Mack will do his normal thing of will he, won't he, will he retire, will he not? But somebody like Delshon Phillips, and Marlon Max as well, he's just as important to special teams. They're all going to need to be repaid, or you're going to have to find somebody on the open market that's going to have their level of production, and there aren't many of those guys around who will willingly be a special teams ace. So when it comes to I think our best special teamer, our gunner, we traded off to. I think we traded them off to the Jets at some point.
Yeah, Jasir Taylor.
Yeah, he was our special teams gunner. He's been and gone. But now we're having to kind of rejig the rejig special teams units accordingly. And I think Dean Leonard's come in. He's played pretty nicely. But also KLS, he's coming in as a gunner as well. He's made a couple of good tackles as well.
Yep.
So let's get off special teams because we all know how much that impacts the game. But Quentin Johnston, all the plays, I mean, the one-hander, Quentin Johnston was like, I can't believe I did that. I mean, man, like Velcro too. I could not believe it. I lost my mind. And 80, like we've talked about earlier in the broadcast, 80 was ahead of me. So I didn't see it right away. And he's going nuts. It was one of the plays that he went nuts on. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate that I'm behind on this. But Quentin Johnston, it's not just that. Later in the game, I watched dude actually go up and bring down a contested catch.
Yeah.
We'll start with you, Taylor, and then 80 follow her up. We're not used to him seeing Quentin Johnston go up for balls and make those kind of plays, much less a one-hander to literally just lock it down. Taylor, you first, and then 80, please.
Yeah, I mean, this year he's definitely been more consistent with the contested balls. I think his line was like 4 for 104 and a touchdown. I think his long was the 50-yard catch. I mean, I thought he also should have drew that pass interference call on Bridges. Bridges was completely turned around and they didn't throw a flag. But, I guess having a week off, not playing in Kansas City got him rejuvenated. And, his hands were 100% to catch those contested balls. But, a guy like him is going to be needed definitely down the stretch too. And that's a good sign that they got him rolling early. And, he was that deep ball threat for us today. And, he balled out.
So yeah, when it comes to Quentin Johnston, I've never been a fan because for those who don't know, it was the analytics people who actually were responsible for kind of talking Tom Telesco into bringing him in, not so much the football side of things. So he was brought in by Adita Christian and Alex Stern, who are two research analysts for the old back room. I don't know whether they're still there now. But they were mostly responsible for bringing him in, and they convinced Tom Telesco to draft him in the first round. And after 1 year, he was a bit of a bust. Then when the Harbour regime came in, they actually literally sit the guy down and actually figure out what he could do. And according to somebody inside the building, it turns out he could only run 3 NFL routes, and he's almost had to redevelop himself as a receiver to actually be able to actually be a first rounder because the skill set that he had, he put up good stats. He really did. But against coming into the NFL, having the ability to only really run 3 NFL routes coming from that kind of Texas Tech style offense, he the first rounder, and he had to essentially be drug into the ground and brought back up again by this new coaching staff, new coaching staff, new team, new coordinator. They've had to almost rebuild the guy, and he's developed year on year since the Harbour regime's come in.
Not bad. I was gonna say here's what I need us to do, at least on this show or for now. I don't know what else I gotta give him. I gotta cut him some slack. I really got to kind of get behind him a little bit. The one-hander, the contested catch, I didn't expect either one of those to be complete. And he didn't just bring them in. He did so with authority. And I don't know how long it will take me to ever be a Quentin Johnston, stan or whatever the kids say. But Taylor,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to deny what he did today.
Yeah, I mean, he showed out. He's tied right now for 9th in the NFL. There's like 6 other guys in total touchdowns with 7. So, I the first year or 2 that he was with the Chargers, it's like that guy's definitely a bust. But whatever the Harbaugh regime has done has kind of fixed him and rejuvenated him. And, it's good to finally see some production out of him and see maybe this is why he was taken in the first round. But, it's a great building block game coming off an injury into the next two weeks where you're facing the best of the best in the AFC.
Taylor, while you're on that, who do they face the next 2 weeks?
So next week is Houston. That's a home game at SoFi. It's
At
1:30.
SoFi.
Yeah, it's a home game. 1:30 start on Saturday. And then week 18 is against Denver, in Denver. And right now, that game is TBD as to date and time.
Yeah, they'll flex it depending on what the schedules are. If it's
Yeah.
going to decide the AFC and the West, they'll flex it out to a primetime schedule. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I remember a game previous year where I was over for. We were expecting a 1 o'clock West Coast kickoff, and it got flexed out to like the 7 p.m. kickoff. Yeah, that wasn't fun because I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I had my my at the time 10-month-old with me for that game, and he was just like, but by the time we got to the halfway point, I literally had this like dead toddler that was fast asleep for the game. But yeah, it was all flexed out, and we were guests of some Chargers VIPs for that game. And
a sleepy toddler is sometimes
I remember quite vividly Derwin just lighting Patrick Mahomes up, 80,000 people absolutely going mental. And I look across and my toddler's just like out. I'm like, that boy will sleep through anything.
That's incredible. So as we look at the last two games, let's not go too far or crazy or outlandish with our predictions, but Chargers 11-4, crazy a little bit to me. But I guess this new regime is kind of doing the things that they want to do. And maybe it helps to have a guy like 10 behind center. And as much as I'm kind of picking on him a little bit privately regarding some of his line of scrimmage stuff and his pre-play stuff, I really do think that tonight was one of those reasons for me to pay a little more attention to what he does do when the game is on the line. And he really showed out today. Taylor, your thoughts on 10 today and anything that you think that he needs to do differently, or is he just doing it just right?
Well, I thought he played phenomenal. I mean, I think his first 8 or 10 passes, he was 8 for 8 or 10 for 10. He just came lights out. I thought the game plan was really good. Getting the ball out quick. The one issue I have with him is taking unnecessary sacks, especially when you got a broken hand and pins and plates in it. But that's the type of game that we need to build on going forward. Houston's going to be a really tough matchup. You're not going to get that same secondary with that Houston defense. So game plan's definitely going to need to adjust for that. But love to see this late in the season have a game like this, and hopefully that's a building block into the last 2 weeks. But I really hope that his hand is okay, especially after he had that long run and he kind of had his hand frozen there for a little bit walking around. I just
nobody listens, so it doesn't matter. But damn it, we don't want too much of that to get out. Hey, AD, when you look at the tackle situation and what's going on, Taylor's been very vocal about the impact of Bobby Hart on the Electric Edge podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to that because he's over 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Congratulations. You've earned every single one. The Texans.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., Danico Autry. This is a legit ruining your life defensive line. And let's not forget about the secondary. Kalen Bullock, a rookie, but plays like he's a 7th-year Ronnie Lott. I don't know, Derek Stingley Jr. It's about to be bad.
Petra. Yeah, Jalen Petra as well.
Petra's great.
Yeah. They've got a lot of big hitters and a lot of very good defensive backs.
Specifically, focus on the Chargers' offensive line trying to handle Will Anderson Jr., Danico Autry, and then of course Danielle Hunter.
This is going to come down to scheme because you can't double both guys, so you're going to have to figure a way to get tight end help at the line of scrimmage. Slide your protections around. You're going to have to figure out a way to get the running back in on pass protection so he's not running all over the place. And that's only just taking into account 2 guys off the edge. They've got a couple of really good defensive tackles as well, and they'll have DBs that are going to blitz. Looking at how things were last week with Spagnuolo, they're gonna send 7-8 guys, and Herbert's gonna have to communicate a lot better at the line of scrimmage to either change the play, change the protection, and he's got to be on top of stuff. So when you're watching the game, watch out for what Bradley Bozeman does, pointing stuff out with calling as alerts, because he's going to try and communicate to Herbert what's coming, and that's entirely down to 10 whether he decides to change the play or not. I mean, last week against the Chiefs, you had that 3 and 13. There was like 8 in the box, cover 0, and he just made a really boneheaded decision to not change the play, and within like 2.2 seconds, he was on his back. I was like,
and who got blamed?
Yeah. Like I think Bozeman and a couple other guys get blamed, and I'm like,
that's okay. Listen, 10's not perfect, but we're not going to overwhelm the list. We're not going to overwhelm the listeners with that portion of that. But what I will say is this Texans defense is legit. Yeah. And their coach, D'Amico Ryans.
He's a defensive guy. He was with Harbaugh at the 49ers. He was a player under him.
He's a bad dude. He was a very good player, man.
Yeah, they know each other really well, so that's gonna be a battle. And like I say, he's got probably the best pass rush in the league. Well, I think second best now. I think Denver is still classed as number 1 with Nick Benito. But both of those two guys, as we know from last year, they are legitimate. For
sure. Taylor, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be at that game next Saturday, and I pray that Herbert makes it out alive with that defense. But yeah, I mean, you got to make sure that you have the correct schemes and you game plan for a defense like that, or else it's going to be a long night for Herbert. He's going to take very similar sacks like he did in the Eagles game. And you're still trying to get out of that game clean. I think it's going to be a defensive battle next week. I'm not too sold on CJ Stroud. So I think it's going to be a great defensive battle, and it's going to be a low scoring game, but it's going to come down to the wire and who can get points last on the board. But I think the Chargers can win. I don't put it past them. We've seen extraordinary feats this year, especially with this offensive line and all the craziness with it. I go back to the Eagles game, like they probably should have won that game, but their defense came through and bailed them out. So anything is possible, right? And they're home. It's last home game. I'll be fired up. So, let's hope I have a happy flight home.
Fired up, bolted up. She's always all of those things. 80, your thoughts, man?
I mean, CJ Stroud, he's not a guy I'm massively a fan of, but they do have, guys like Nick Chubb in the running back. He's not to be sniffed at. Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, he's a guy that we love. Jalen Noel as well.
Stop talking about the players we loved in the draft.
Yeah, we like, and then you've got guys who are the enforcers in the middle of the defense. You'll know the name Azeez Al-Shabari. He likes to get a licking on Herbert. He's done that a few times. EJ Speed. There's guys across the field who I imagine they've been ring fencing this game for a couple of weeks now because they like to get hits on them.
Everybody expected. I mean, obviously it's a part of the schedule already, but there's a chance this isn't the only time they see each other this season.
Yeah.
So if I had to, let me put you both on the spot here. If I had to talk about whom I believe the impetus on getting a W for sure is on, it's on Greg Roman to me. I love what Minter's doing on every level right now. The defense is really toned up. It's doing its thing. But for the Chargers to get out of here with a W against the Texans, they really have to do some quick hitting shit. This cannot be this thing where you let Herbert get battered. That defensive line, no matter, we can't bring back Marcus McNeil, Nick Hardwick, Russ Washington. I'm not trying to break anybody's brains for you young folks out there. You're not going to know who I'm talking about. Ron Mix. Get those cats. We can't get those cats. But I'm telling you right now, if Greg Roman is not capable of formulating an offensive game plan to get the ball out of 10's hands as quick as shit, at least to establish play action. Of course, they're going to run it with Hampton, Vidal, and whoever the fuck is healthy because they're going to run the ball. They have to. This is that kind of an offense. But your thoughts on him trying to dial some shit up and Roman being like, "Nah, we got this."
No,
you first.
I will
That'll be
lose my mind if it's not quick passes, getting the ball out quickly against this defense. I do not want to watch the same offensive game plan I saw against the Eagles and him just getting lit up, running all over the place. The receivers can't get open. Like, that was abysmal to watch. And, like I said, that defense won them that game. But, I hope lessons are learned. Let's put it that way.
I love it. 80. Listen, what I love about this part for you is you watch both of these teams and you know exactly what's about to happen. I just need you to tell us how it's going to play out.
I think they're going to have to try something a little bit different this week, because whatever they've been working on for the last 15, 16 weeks, there's a certain guy on the 53 by the name of Naquan Jones who knows exactly what they've been working on. They know the calls. They know, tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, Naquan
No, I
Jones,
can't. No. Former Chargers defensive lineman. The Chargers let him slip through the cracks when they put him on the practice squad. The Texans picked him up and has even played a down for them.
He's on their 53. He's on their 53.
Oh, is he?
Right
Okay,
now.
my bad.
Yeah,
I thought he was just kind of hanging out in the.
No, he's on their 53-man squad right now. So yeah, they're going to be plugging him for information, whether they actually tell him, whether they actually say anything or not. You remember Eric Weddle? He got signed and he refused to give up any inside information whatsoever I think it was on the Ravens at the time when the Rams signed him. He just said nope. Whether Naquan Jones,
I respect him so much for that. He and I definitely have some differences in our past. Mr. Eric Weddle and that.
Yeah. But will Naquan Jones do the same? Does he know all of our calls? Does he know everything that we do on the practice field? Yeah.
Man, they shift that shit weekly. I'm not too worried about that part, though. When you look at this game, though, I mean, it's obviously a huge game. The rest of the games until this season is over, they're all huge games. Derwin, James, Cameron Dicker, 80. We'll go to you first. We watch these guys do this shit week in and week out, and then we'll go to Taylor. I mean, it's the modus operandi, but I mean, what do we do when they don't have these kind of games? It was nice to see those things kind of come to fruition today, especially.
Yeah, as I said in the previous episode that we did, our defense goes as far as Derwin James carries us. We've since traded for guys like OA and there's a bit more productivity coming from the pass rush side of things. But when Derwin seems to be the ignition on this defense, when he has a good game, everybody else steps up because he will get in their face and call them out on the field and on the sideline. You can see them, how the rest of the team kind of pick up when Derwin had a big moment, and that's one of my kind of big calls for a leader. Whenever you watch football and you want to know who's in charge of that football team and who the leaders are, don't look at the C on the jersey. Look at how they act on the sideline. And when Derwin steps up, everybody else responds. He is the leader of that defense. And same with Khalil Mack. He's a scary guy to even look at. Those two will be preparing. They're probably on tablets right now on the way back from Dallas. I would definitely hope so. They're probably getting stuff ready because they know what this is going to be next week, and they're going to be helping. They're going to be running scout team during the week. They're going to be doing walkthroughs during the week. They're going to put looks together, and they're going to try and simulate this defense as best, the Houston's defense as best as possible to figure out what's going to be happening this week.
Taylor, you were laughing. You're having a little fun with that. Talk to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, 80 is 1,000,000% right. Just looking at some numbers from today already, I mean, they have Derwin James rated as the highest grade player on PFF today. And I do want to just add, because I'm trying to keep on top of what else is going on in the NFL today. The Texans and Raiders are tied right now. So that is a good sign for us that maybe the Raiders, can hang around with them, show some things on film that the Chargers can use this week in practice to prepare for Saturday's game. And on top of that, I know we have some implications from the Denver-Jacksonville game, and Jacksonville is also driving right now, and they may take the lead on Denver. So a lot of moving parts, but I agree with 80,000,000%. When Derwin's on, that defense is on, and everyone else steps up. I mean, look at last week with Kansas City. Derwin was on, Dayon had a great game, and he's had some iffy games this year. So I couldn't agree more.
And we'll
with
get Justin back.
Derwin on Kelsey, that changed the KC game. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Yep.
My voice cracked a lot. Thank you.
And we would probably get Jefferson back next weekend as well. He's going to serve his 1-game suspension for that ejection, so he's going to be back as well. We're going to get Unk.
Yeah, Tony Jefferson should be back. No, he was just fined, wasn't he?
No, he
yeah, that
today.
was for what he did walking off the field. So he made a few lewd a few gestures towards.
Well, he flipped a couple birds.
No, Tony Jefferson played today.
Did he play?
Yeah, he had 8 tackles. He got fined twice.
He played a huge part in the defense.
Okay, I just didn't. I thought he'd been suspended for the.
No. It was just fines, man.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about next week. I was like, I missed something.
Yeah, no, I thought he had been suspended. That's what I read. I didn't necessarily.
No, man, it's all right, man. Shit happens. Who cares? We're not like that. Who gives a fuck, man? So we had one thing wrong here between the three of us, and it is what it is. I looked at this Chargers team moving forward. Denver, who knows what they're going to do, obviously, at the very end of this bullshit, right? What are you...
So Denver are currently losing 14-10.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So,
yeah, Jacksonville are beating them 14-10, and Jacksonville have the ball as it stands. So, yeah, I've got that up on as we are right now. And then Houston are 10-10 versus the Raiders. Sorry, 7-7, my bad. Yeah. I've got them on a different tab.
Yeah, the Jacksonville's just kicking off to Denver. So, Denver's about to get the ball back.
Cool. Yeah, I've not got a game. I've just got I've just got live play by
play. I got you. We're good. Let's get right back on track. It was really nice to see wide receiver Ladd McConkey pass 40 yards and a little bit extra. Obviously, it was nice to see him get involved in the offense. This is not an indictment on QJ or anybody else or even 10. But getting Ladd McConkey involved feels like that's important going into the playoffs, as this team clearly, after a big victory over the Dallas Cowboys today in Dallas, that's going to be a very integral part of this offense moving forward. Taylor, do they need to do more things underneath with him, or what it is? What do you think that it is, regarding how often they get him involved in the offense, and are they doing enough to get him the touches that he deserves?
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely need to get him more touches. We saw today there's a catch he made where he put the brakes on, cut around the defender, went upfield. You got to get him the ball in quick plays, let him use his speed, get upfield. I think right now, I know as of, I think last week, he was like 700 receiving yards on the year. And last year he had over 1,000. I guess the one good thing going into the Houston game is that he lit up that Houston defense last year in the wild card game. So maybe we can get a breakout Ladd game next week if, our offensive line could hold just a little bit for Herbert to make things happen and get the ball out.
80, your thoughts on Ladd?
Yeah, he's been off for a couple of weeks. He got locked down by Cooper DeJean, and he's been pretty much...
He got bullied by Cooper DeJean.
Yeah. I made the joke that, when Cooper passes through TSA on his way back out of LAX, he empties his pockets, Ladd McConkey will probably fall out. So I think it's probably the definition of a sophomore slump. Like, people know on tape now what they're going to see when they're seeing concepts involving him. They know what he can do, what they can't do. A lot of players that come in as a rookie, they regress in year 2 for that stereotypical kind of sophomore slump, because you've got more tape to see what this guy can and can't do, and what his tendencies are. When a guy breaks down, does his hips drop this way? And people pay attention to that. His knees, his hips, his shoulders. When you've got 16 games of tape on a guy, a DB is going to pay attention to that. So it's entirely onto him. And then the ball's been passed along quite a lot today. So Trey Harris had a big game. Even Will Disley got a couple of good grabs in there as well today as well. KLS had a couple of one grab. The ball's getting passed around a lot more this year. With Quentin Johnson, the way he's schemed open, It's something that I've said quite privately, but
Don't you dare go on
No,
this
I'm
weird
gonna say
rant
it.
about
I'm gonna say
UJ
it right
right
now.
now. They won. God damn it.
With the way that Greg Roman schemes his passing game, what you'll notice going through stats, if Quentin Johnson has a big game, Oronde Gadsden doesn't.
Does not.
Does not, and it goes the other way as well. Whenever Oronde Gadsden has a big game, Quentin Johnson either doesn't or it doesn't play because of the way they scheme the open. There's only been one game this whole season where both guys have had at least 50 yards, and that's something I've been tracking through the whole season since the first Raiders game. Just with the way he schemes his passing and the way he spaces his receivers out. Those two on the field together, they're too similar as players. Oronde Gadsden isn't a tight end, and I don't care who knows it. He's a big receiver.
He's a wide slot. We know that.
He's
okay, though. We don't have to denigrate him weekly.
Yeah, he's far too similar to almost to Quentin Johnson as a body type, as a player. They're very similar, and together on the field together, neither that. It's either one or the other is productive. There's only ever been one.
You know what I would do? I'd have Keenan on one end and give Quentin Johnson a break. Then I'd have Ladd literally at X all the way out to, come on now, I'm not afraid. And then I'd line one up at Y and the other in the slot and just see what I can do. I'd get verticals all day. I love what I love and understand and appreciate where you're going, except for the fact that I gotta back off the cat, man. It's too good for now. It's all right for now, Taylor. I mean, am I wrong?
No, I mean, as long as the team's getting wins, I don't care who catches the ball at this point.
11-4, like what?
Same win total as last year with a harder schedule.
Yeah,
a much more difficult schedule. 80, you didn't pick this. I know you didn't.
No, I had us 1 to 2 games worse than last year because of this.
Taylor, what'd you have?
I had 13-4.
Winning out.
So, but I also made that prediction before Slate.
I did not.
No.
I said 13-4, and I could still have it. So.
Yeah. I had us 1 to 2 games worse than last year. Now I kind of go against the grain of everybody else. Like I wasn't knowing Greg Roman's offense the way I do. I wasn't a massive fan of a lot of this draft class, especially the lack of offensive line with Branston Taylor, who's just been added to the 53. I think.
So what? They won. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think Mekhi Becton's knee is a lot worse than they're making out. Again,
we talked about that in March, though, when we saw the case.
Oh, May. Yeah, it was May when he turned up to camp.
I thought it was March. Sorry, I said in March I wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
and then in May when he showed up at Chargers. No, I almost said Chargers Park. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Old heads get that. The BoltBlitz or whatever the fuck it's called.
So he was very clearly hurt, and like as soon as I saw that photo that came out, I was the first person ahead of everybody over this, and they were they were refusing to actually acknowledge that he was actually hurt until about 3 months.
They took the picture down.
Yeah, that photo since gone. I still have it. I still have it with the zoom in.
We both do.
Yeah. So, and now they're kind of. He got hurt last week. He spent some time out, and then Greg Roman, with Greg Roman and Harbour both saying, like, almost contradicting each other over whether it was an injury, because Harbour doesn't say anything. You never get a straight answer out of the guy, but then eventually he kind of admitted that Becton was actually hurt. And then with them activating Branston Taylor to the actual full squad, he wasn't active today, but I think at some point his knee's going to go and Penning's going to have to go in at right guard. On top of Sally now being hurt.
But hold on, real quick. Hold on. Taylor, I already know, excuse me, 80's opinion on this. Penning being at right guard is fine. Your thoughts on his addition and obviously what he already did tonight. He blocked well.
Yeah. I think I love him in these big run sets where they add him in as the extra offensive lineman. He's just a bully. So I think if Becton does go down and they have to slide him in their right guard, I think it's a good play. The Salyer thing, that's something to definitely keep an eye out on. I saw it was a hamstring. I'll keep an eye out as to what extent of that hamstring. But we know we have with Deculus. So it'll be interesting to see the offensive lineman shuffle this week at practice as to who they have where.
That's commonplace for this season. I know that AD can add to this too. The Chargers offensive line, it's a weird game of Yahtzee, and you're just not sure what you're going to roll. AD, you've watched the different offensive line combinations. They're the top in the league as far as I think I've seen.
Yeah, I think
hold on. Before I need to do this because I keep forgetting. The black and white LT jersey, Taylor, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. I'm colorblind, so it took me a minute. I've been looking for a long time, and I'm like, got it. Yeah, just shut up, 80. I can't see shit, man. I'm already blind and whatever. Well, hold on. Back to what we were saying. Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh, I think I finished my thought.
Well, shit. Then it's your turn, 80. And now
I believe it's like 28, 27, 28, 29 different offensive line combinations so far this year.
27 was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, I think with bringing Deculus in with Bobby Hart at right tackle, I think that might be 28 or 29 now.
I thought it was Taylor who would bring us back, and it was you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, again, it's just another shuffle. I mean, will Pipkins be back next week? Will they put Pipkins in at right tackle?
He was an ankle again, right?
Yeah, I give him another week just to let his swelling go down, figure him out, and then again, you don't know. You'll see the practice reports. You get the emails constantly. I think I'm getting them daily at this point, the practice reports, and then every so often you'll get Popper and Chris Rim. They'll tell you what's going off, even though they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to actually watch practice. They're only allowed to tell you who's practicing. They're not allowed to actually see them practice. You'll get an idea about who is practicing, who isn't, and you'll try and get an idea of what the combinations are going to be during the week. So we'll again, it's another week of guess who.
Which is also a fun game. I used to play with my children for years. They love that. It was a very fun game, especially a little window flipping bullshit. Let's do a little window flipping right now. 2 games left. Taylor, putting you right on the spot. Let's go. How many dubs do they get?
Well, I predicted 13-4, so I'm going to stick on my predictions, and I'm going to say that they're going to win out. They will find ways to win next week, and then they will pull out a win in Denver. And I'm going to say that I'm the good luck charm.
The Mile High.
Yeah, I'm going to be the good luck charm because I'll be at both games. So,
love it. 80, it's your turn.
1-1. I'm going to split it straight down the middle. I'm going to go 1-1. I think.
How and why?
I think that Houston pass rush are going to have a good day next week. We'll say that nicely.
You think that Taylor being in Denver is a good enough omen for us to win there, right?
I mean, Denver's a winnable game.
Oh no.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I like Bo Nix is a very beatable player. You just have to do enough against the best pass rush. Against the Denver pass rush, Bo Nix is very beatable. You can force him into mistakes, especially when you're now running those subsets with Tuli, OA, and Mac. You're gonna keep him moving. You're gonna get him off base. When their O line is also pretty legit, so you're gonna have to figure stuff out to get him off his spot. Once you get him moving, he becomes a heck of a lot less accurate as a quarterback. So that's what you're gonna have to do to get him moving. And to say Tuli, you can line him up outside and bring him in. That's where he's at his best. He's not an edge rusher, and I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Tuli is not an elite edge rusher, even though he does get these sacks. Most of them don't come off the edge. He's gonna.
They're not ready for this, man.
Again, I've been saying it for the last year. You watch his sacks. Like, how often does he actually come off the edge, beat a tackle, and get to the quarterback? Rarely ever. Most of his sacks come through the A, B, and he's scraping all over the place to find the gap, or he's chasing down QBs from behind. the majority of his sacks are not him coming off the edge and beating a tackle. I'll say it that, and that's how I'll say it. He's not an edge rusher, and at USC he wasn't an edge rusher. He was drafted to be the long-term replacement for Morgan Fox in Brandon Staley's defense as like a 3-4 defensive end. That's what he was brought in for. Only in between playing his last game at USC,
he lost a shit ton of weight.
Yeah, he lost about 30 pounds in weight. So he at USC, during his final season, he was listed at 290 as a actual down defensive lineman, and he went to the combine at 265 and then lost even more weight. So yeah, he's trying to kind of frame himself as being this elite edge rusher, and the box score.
The good news is they're doing just fine regardless of his weight, stature, and I feel confident about him moving forward. Would I rather him gather about 20 more pounds? And 80 and I talk about this ad nauseum, honestly, off stream especially. But what I don't want to do is this be a pick on Chargers players stream or live because they just beat the shit out of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Taylor, you see what's going on here. And we're about to wrap this up. We're hitting to the 52-minute mark, and that's too long for anybody to listen to me yak about shit. But people like you and 80, they actually provide people what they want to hear, other than him just killing Thule. I want Thule to be an interior guy too. I promise. By the way, and I'm gonna bring 80 back. By the way, I'm not just leaving him out on an island. But you look at this Chargers team moving forward. Again, Houston, Denver. You're like, no, I'm sticking with 13-4, sure. How confident are you in the fact that Herbert stays healthy enough? He's going to play no matter what. But the Chargers do need to figure out a way to make sure that Greg Roman is all the way in on keeping 10 safe, extra tight ends, backs coming out of the backfield to chip. Your thoughts on your confidence regarding Roman being able to do that?
I can't say I have a ton of confidence. Like I said, with today's game, I thought they did a really good job keeping him upright. But it's the unnecessary sacks for me that had me concerned with Herbert's health, especially the next 2 weeks. You're going against 2 top 5 defenses in the NFL. They're going to come with a lot of pressure. It's not going to be a 0-sack game like we had today. And when you watch Herbert, he doesn't want to put any pressure on that left hand when he has to go to the ground. So, I'm going to say fingers crossed and hope that he can stay healthy and there's no additional damage to that hand. But you definitely have to scheme to try to keep him upright, get the ball out quick, use the run game, so you don't put him in a position where he has to take unnecessary hits and, compromise that hand and further cause injury, especially this late in the season, and, jeopardize their playoff hopes.
Couldn't agree more. 80, you look at this team, this offensive line, and whatever they can do to keep 10 clean. Your thoughts on that over the next 2 games?
It starts with 10. He has to control this better. He has to listen to the guys in front of him and actually make a decision. That's essentially what it's going to come down to. Yeah, we are down to a skeleton line at the tackle position. That's where edge rushers are coming from. So we're going to have to watch a lot of tape, diagnose who's doing what, and make calls accordingly at the line of scrimmage. The guys in front of him are literally tools. Herbert has to learn how to wield them. But that's probably the best way for me to actually kind of put that out there. They do as they're told. You need somebody who can control them to actually tell them what to do. They can only do so much.
Bozeman makes the initial call, just for everybody out there listening who is confused whether or not that's the case. But it is always up to 10. From what I'm told, privately, outwardly, and all via every report fucking ever, they've got some shit to work on. That being said, 11-4.
Yeah. So coming back.
Oh, hold on. We're too critical of this bullshit. God damn it. They're 11-4. Can we have some fun? I have no fun. God, I'm ripping staples. I don't know what they put in me. I think they're stitches. I don't know if it's staples. Sorry. Oh, I'm in so much pain. But anyway, Chargers do not provide the pain for me this weekend, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm very thankful for both of my co-hosts. We're gonna cut this stream for all the reasons. And Taylor, thank you for laughing. 80, I adore you. This has been BoltBlitz Uncut. We're working through some shit here, and as we work through it, we'll just get better. But if you're not here for the total bullshit, then you're not ready for the everybody pays and gets paid for it bullshit. My name is Booga Peters. This has been one of the most off the rails episodes of any show I've ever hosted, and I'm just very excited. I'm here to really talk about it. Peace out.